Welcome to today's deep dive. We're looking at how India's defense sector is, well, completely transforming from just a strategic necessity into a massive industrial growth engine. And our mission today is to cut through all the financial jargon and show you exactly how this shift is happening on the ground.
Right, because the scale of this transition is really unprecedented.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this. The numbers here are just massive. The fiscal year 2026 to 2027 defense budget is pegged at a staggering 7.84 trillion rupees.
Which is huge.
Yeah, to put that in perspective for you, that is roughly 15% of the entire union budget.
Exactly. But, while that top line number is undeniably huge, the real story isn't just the amount of money, it is where that money is actually going. Because the government has earmarked a staggering 75% of capital procurement strictly for domestic sourcing.
75%.
Yeah, meaning the vast majority of this acquisition budget isn't just being packed up and sent overseas to buy weapons anymore. It is being pumped directly into Indian manufacturers.
So we are finally seeing those Atmanirbhar Bharat, the self-reliance policies actually materialize on the ground.
Right, it's not just a government buzzword anymore.
No, it's reality. And it's no longer just those giant government-owned companies doing all the heavy lifting either. Private players and medium, small, and micro enterprises are stepping up to build critical components, things like electronics and propulsion systems.
Which is a fundamental structural shift for the industry.
Completely. And here's where it gets really interesting. I noticed a lot of the companies stepping up aren't building traditional heavy metal like tanks or artillery. Modern warfare is shifting, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is heavily shifting toward software, AI, drones, and that shift to tech is exactly why platforms like IDEX exist.
The innovations for defense excellence.
Right, IDEX. They are bringing these really agile startups into a space usually dominated by slow, traditional defense contractors.
Yeah.
So now you have startups integrating AI into unmanned systems for autonomous navigation or building automated threat detection software. And to anchor all of this, India has actually established dedicated defense corridors in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu.
Acting as centralized hubs.
Exactly. They integrate the testing facilities, the research and development, and the manufacturing units all in one place.
So they're building up this massive domestic infrastructure, but to sustain that kind of scale, they can't possibly just sell to the Indian military forever.
No, and that is where the export boom comes in. What's fascinating here is that India's defense exports have grown over tenfold in just the past decade.
Tenfold.
Over tenfold, yeah. And we are seeing major concrete examples of this globally. Take the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile. India secured a $375 million contract to supply those to the Philippines.
That's a massive deal.
It is. And you also have the light combat aircraft, the LCA Tejas fighter jets, anchoring the domestic aerospace ecosystem. Plus, weapon systems like the Akash air defense missiles and Pinaka rocket launchers are being sold to overseas buyers right now, notably in Armenia.
So they are taking the technology developed domestically and actively deploying it on the world stage.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, rising global geopolitical tensions have triggered a sustained increase in defense spending everywhere.
Right. Everybody is arming up.
Yeah, NATO members, for instance, are rapidly accelerating rearmament. They have to replenish depleted inventories of ammunition and electronic systems. So this massive global restocking cycle is basically turning India into a highly cost-competitive, reliable defense supplier.
For countries looking to diversify their supply chains beyond the traditional Western manufacturers.
Exactly.
Well, it sounds like an unstoppable boom, but as someone evaluating this information with our listeners, you have to wonder about the catch. There are always hurdles in a structural shift this massive.
Oh, for sure. Looking at the data, it is not entirely smooth sailing. Defense manufacturing takes years to go from designing a weapon to actually building and deploying it. And there are persistent testing and certification delays that can hit those smaller private startups really hard. Plus, crucially, there is still a heavy reliance on some imported, highly complex subsystems.
Like the aero engines I saw mentioned in the reports.
Right, aero engines are a big one. So while things are definitely moving in the right direction, the supply chain is not entirely self-sufficient just yet.
Makes sense. So what does this all mean? For you listening, the takeaway here is clear. India's defense sector is undergoing a structural, multi-decade upcycle.
Yes.
It is no longer just about buying weapons for border protection. It is about manufacturing advanced systems for the rest of the world and building a resilient industrial ecosystem in the process.
And I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to mull over. As modern warfare becomes increasingly reliant on networks, software, and AI, rather than just traditional heavy machinery, could India's historic dominance in the IT and software sectors eventually make it the undisputed global superpower of digital defense?
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.